Do you want to know how to plot the perfect crime? How to come up with the perfect murder? I'm going to tell you, and I've never been caught. That's why the Hungarian Cultural Center of New York and London asked me to deliver you this content. Because this is a podcast on crime writing and murder mysteries. Stay with me if you dare. Hello, my name is Éva Cserháti. I'm a Hungarian crime writer. I'm going to talk to you about why do I write crime and how do I write crime and how come that you might have never heard about Hungarian crime writing. Let's start from the very beginning. When I tell people that I'm a crime writer, I generally get two types of reactions. The first one is saying, "Really? How scary!" As if crime writers were notorious serial killers, which is absolutely not true. We only specialize in unkind editors and cruel reviewers. The second reaction I get, it's less common, but still I've got it several times, which goes like this. "You are really a crime writer? Well, I never thought that this is how a crime writer looks like." Which sometimes followed by the comment, "But you are a woman." These comments come from the expectation that a crime writer is a big, scary man with shady intentions, which is only true for the main character of B-category action movies. A real crime writer looks like me. Many readers don't know what the research says, at least about the American and the UK market, that there are more female crime writers than male ones. So I might not be the crime writer you expect me to be, but still I am one, and I'm very happy to show you how I work and what I do. The most common question I get as a crime writer is, why do I write crime? Nobody ever asks a poet, why do you write poetry? Or a fiction writer, why do you write novels? But there is a certain expectation that there is a reason behind why one chooses crime as a genre. Let's start from the very beginning. I always wanted to be a writer. When I was a kid and I learned how to read, I realized that was the only thing I really wanted to do, invent stories and plots. But for a long time, I didn't have enough self-esteem to write. I think that the major obstacle to become a writer is the lack of self-confidence. So I was 39 years old when I got a shiny big PhD grant for the next 3 years to write a thesis about new ways of feminist academic writing and translation theories. I had a big celebration and I went to bed. And the next morning I woke up and I knew that I was betraying that little girl to whom I promised I would finish a book until I'm 40. And I knew that if I accepted the grant, I would ever write a book. So I rejected the PhD grant and I wrote a book, this one, which is titled Message in a Bottle. As you can see on the cover, the theme is sailing. I used to live on a sailing boat for 5 years in the West Mediterranean Sea. So I wanted to write about how women live on the sea, what are their struggles and solidarity. And as I was plotting, suddenly a crime story came to my mind. So the whole narrative of the book took a turn and it became a crime fiction. A beginner's crime fiction, but nevertheless, a crime fiction with a mystery and a resolution at the end. I enjoyed it so much. I knew that that was what I wanted to do. So I wrote another short story for my husband, who is Brit. So I wanted him to be able to read in English. And I wrote this book with a short story titled The Nuthatch. It's a family mystery where a man resolves a question after the death of his mother. I also made a cover myself. After doing these 2 books and 2 stories, I never looked back. And a couple of years later, I published the first volume of my series, titled The Mermaid's Secret. You can see the mermaid up here. So this is the first volume in my crime series, which is titled The Hand. Here you can see the subtitle. I write crime because I love it, and after the first couple of experiences, I never looked back. Stay with me, and I'm going to tell you why. When you go to a bookshop to buy a crime fiction, you generally read the blurb, the back of the book. Or do you open it and you read the first line? They are both very important parts of crime fiction. In order to sell you my podcasts, I'm going to read you the blurb of my book. And I hope that it's going to be so interesting for you that you are going to follow me through all phases of how to plot the perfect crime. So this is how my blurb goes. It is 2015. The communist past has been scraped from the country's surface, but still shapes people's lives. 3 murders are committed in Hungary, in town squares where old communist memorials once stood. The crimes point towards the Greek community who arrived in Hungary as refugee children in 1948. When the investigation leads back as far as the beginning of the Cold War, the different generations of detectives struggle with their different visions of Hungarian history. The new team is a centerpiece of the police force's image-building campaign, and the legacy of the state security services casts a long shadow over the investigation.